What's going on, everyone? So the Lakers center spot is it's rough right now, right? Anthony Davis is the sole center, really. Jackson Hayes just got back from injury, but he's not really your primary backup. I like Hayes, but I like him in like a limited capacity, right? Him as just like a high energy, high effort guy that comes in, gives you, like 7-8 minutes a game, I think would be perfect. But needing him as like your primary guy, it's an issue. I mean, it's so much so JJ's even gone small overplaying Hayes in spots. He's too sporadic, right? He's out of control at times. He doesn't have the discipline and positioning down, right? He doesn't know how to properly just elevate and not have to stick his hands out to foul the guy. See him constantly getting into foul trouble. He's out of position and slotted wrong constantly, not because of the coaching, because of him. He just finds himself kind of moseying out of position regularly. Again, he's young still. There's upside potential. I'd rather have Koloko, though. I think Koloko gives you everything Hayes gives you, but better shot blocking as well as just more control. He's more in control, understands positioning better. Problem with Koloko is that Koloko is on a two-way, right? So we can't bring him in, and we're running out of games that we can actually play him. So Jackson Hayes, if we were able to get a center to kind of fill in for Hayes, that go a long way. Christian Wood, still no update in return. Gotten a lot of updates about Jared Vanderbilt recently, but still nothing on Christian Wood, unfortunately, because I do think he'd help a lot. Obviously, I don't think he's necessarily the true answer at the center spot. I mean, maybe, you never know. Time will tell. But I do think that the Lakers could use kind of a more traditional center, a bigger center, somebody closer to 7 feet than Wood is. But I will say that Wood is the closest thing we have to an Anthony Davis. I'm not saying he's as good as Anthony Davis, particularly defensively, but more so in the sense of like the actions you can run on the offensive side with a Christian Wood compared to a Jackson Hayes, right? Anthony Davis goes to the bench and Hayes comes in. You lose all that shooting. You just lose so many options and plays that you may have because of Anthony Davis. Well, when Wood comes in place of Anthony Davis, you still can run almost all of those actions because he can operate and knock down from the mid-range. He can knock down and shoot the three ball, right? He can self-create for himself, create a little bit for others, right? So, like, he gives you kind of the closest thing that the Lakers have to kind of offsetting that and supplementing that. However, I do like him better as a 4, coming in and kind of being your 4. Like I've talked about, if the Lakers, Bruce Brown, Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then having, like a Dennis Smith Jr., Dalton Connect, Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and a Day'Ron Sharpe, right? Just names to kind of fill in, right? Like something like that, I think would be great. And now you just kind of have Wood and his versatility. He's actually solid as a help defender. He can also switch out and defend out on the perimeter. He's actually good at closing out and closing the gap. Again, not elite, not great, anything like that. But you saw, I mean, he was clamping up Kevin Durant in one of those in-season tournament games last year, right? So he's a guy that is capable of getting it done. I think Darvin Ham just had him slotted out of position regularly, and that was frustrating. But I do think under JJ, I do think he can thrive more. I'm not saying he'll be a 20-10 guy, but even a 12-6 guy, right, would do wonders for the Lakers. But nonetheless, Lakers, they are in the market to try to upgrade at the center spot. There has been a lot of talk about Nikola Vucevic and the Lakers being linked to him as a potential trade target. Supposedly he could be had dirt cheap. He is the best center that's available, right? Like if you wanted to kind of just really get that guy slotted alongside Anthony Davis, you can't do much worse than Vucevic. I mean, he's like, a top 5, top 10 center at the worst in the league? I mean, he's a really good center. Talking about legit 20-10 guy. They shooting the lights out from 3-point range. He can make plays out of the post. He's a guy that I've talked about, like even with like a Jonas Valanciunas, right? Like he's a guy that allows you to settle, and that's what I like. And what I mean settle is like settle down, right? Like you see the team goes on shooting slumps and all kinds of stuff. It'd be nice to have a guy you could just dump the ball down to, and he could self-create, and he could go and just get a bucket, kind of pull you out of those slumps. It'd be nice to have a guy like that, right? Because the only guy we really have is Anthony Davis, And Anthony Davis, he kind of likes more operate in the mid range. And we've seen when Anthony Davis can't buy a bucket, he can't buy a bucket, right? So it'd be nice to kind of have that guy in a Vu where you could bring him in, sod him down. But in all honesty, I don't think you need necessarily like a higher tier center. Right? I think the Lakers would be fine with like a Valanciunas or a Day'Ron Sharpe, something like that. Again, if you can get it, and if the Lakers were to get him, like if we got news tomorrow or later today that like, oh, Lakers just traded for Vu, I'd be stoked. Don't get me wrong. Again, you just got a legit 20 and 10 guy. But my point is that I think that there's more of an argument to be made of getting like, say a Bruce Brown and a Cody Martin alongside a like Valanciunas or a Day'Ron Sharpe than there is to go, or even a Nick Richards, right? Like you could do Cody Martin and Nick Richards plus like a Bruce Brown. I just think that would go further than like Nikola Vucevic and then like a Bruce, because again, you'd still be getting like a Bruce Brown either way. But I think you'd be more versatile out on the perimeter while still solving your center position with like a Nick Richards, a Day'Ron Sharpe, Jonas Valanciunas, right? Jonas Valanciunas not so much defensively, but there's pros and cons with everybody. Even a Nikola Vucevic isn't great defensively, right? So it's kind of like pick your poison, right? Like what would you rather have, right? And I do think Vu and these other guys, I mean, they're going to help in one way or another. They're going to make the Lakers will be better regardless, just because it'll be a clear upgrade over a guy like a Jackson Hayes. But I don't think, like, there's been talks that the perimeter is the priority for the Lakers, which I understand. Like, the backup center spot might be the easiest thing for them to get, right? Because there's not a ton of options, but there are several, and they just need somebody better than Jackson Hayes, which isn't like a big ask. Like, that's not something where it's like, oh man, like I don't know how you're going to get that, right? Like, it's not something that's like far-fetched to get. But I do want the Lakers to be patient in that. Like, I want the Lakers to go and get that perimeter guy ASAP, right? Like, I would like go, or just go get like the Wizards trade, right? Like, go get a Kyle Kuzma and a Valanciunas, or a Malcolm Brogdon and a Valanciunas. And then go look at the trade deadline and go get another vet or two that you can trust off the bench, right? Like, like a Torrey Craig and like I said, a Cody Martin. Perfect, right? That's another like $10 million in salary. You could easily get that. And you'd get all those guys for the price of Nikola Vucevic and Bruce Brown. So basically, instead of spending $20+ million on Vu, spend that $20 million and break it up between 3 or 4 guys is kind of my thought process. It's kind of what I'd rather see the Lakers lean to. But that's just me personally. Regardless, look, Lakers need a big man. Right? Maybe linked to, Robert Williams, Walker Kessler in a perfect world. I still think Valanciunas is probably going to be most likely. I still think that we're going to get the report, Lakers traded for Jonas Valanciunas. If I'm being honest, again, I could be completely wrong, but I think that that's on the horizon here. Right, I think that that's probably going to be the play. I think the Lakers are being patient, waiting around, kind of trying to see, like, okay, well, what's the price on Vucevic, right? Like, do we really want to go that center route, right? Can we get a Day'Ron Sharpe for, 2 seconds? Because then if we could do that, then, there's a center that makes more sense, shot blocking, defensive wise, but also give you some toughness on the interior. And he's 23 years old, right? Like, so I think the Lakers are just trying to be patient and ride it out and make sure that they make the best decision possible. However, I'd like them to get something done sooner rather than later, right? Like, if you're going to ultimately go get Valanciunas, which is, again, what I think is probably going to happen, I'd rather you just get it now and stop wasting time, right? Like, just get Valanciunas, and then you can evaluate what else you need from there, right? Because if you were to get a Valanciunas, say, tomorrow, right? Well, okay, now you can play him these next few games, and then take a step back and go, okay, what else do we need? Should we get another wing, or should we get another forward, or should we break it down and maybe get some bench pieces? Right? Maybe we need to get 3 or 4 guys off the bench, right? Like, so I don't know. I just think ideally sooner rather than later. But the Lakers, I do expect to make some type of move, some type of trade. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea? Do you hate the idea of, getting a higher end center? Or do you want a lower end center? Or do you kind of want in the middle? Do you think perimeter is more of a priority? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it either way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.